friends, today I'm going to review a Hammer House of Horror story, and this one's called Witching Time. Hammer House of Horror Witching Time was broadcast on the 13th of September 1980. And it's the first story in the series they did, the first of 13 episodes. It was directed by Don Lever, who would also direct The Mark of Satan. It was written by Anthony Reid and runs 52 minutes. Witching Time stars Jon Finch, Patricia, Quinn, Prunella Gee and Ian McCulloch. So in this episode, a witch from the past who's about to get burnt at the stake does some magic and appears in the present. And this man who lives in an isolated cottage finds her. So this is the first one from Hammer House of Horror. This is the first story that they made, and it sets the tone of what's about to happen later on in the series, the stories. And it's kind of symbolic that the story features stuff from the past entering the present. And that's a bit like Hammer films, that they used to do gothic horror, and now with this TV show they're doing stories set in the present. It's also interesting that Jon Finch's character, he's making a film, so he's like editing this horror film, so that's another symbolic thing about Hammer films. Hey, that's that bugger out of that film Frenzy. Yes, Bones, he was in Frenzy, one of my favourite Alfred Hitchcock films. Prunella Gee, she's in, she plays his wife. She's been in a lot of things as well. She appeared in Never Say Never Again. She was even in Coronation Street. She was in a show called Kinvig. I used to watch that as a kid. That was funny. That's quite a good cast, this story. Ian McCulloch's in. He's famous for a few horror films he was in, as well as Survivors, the TV show. Probably his most famous horror film, Zombie Flesh Eaters. He fancy gun with that bloody woman. Talk about bloody zombie flesh eaters. This is like bloody zombie muff eater. But I think the acting honours for this episode goes to Patricia Quinn, who plays the witch. I thought she was outstanding in this. You couldn't really imagine that she was a witch from years ago. And that actress is famous for being in the Rocky Horror Picture Show and its sequels, Shock Treatment. So she's in some good scenes as well. I like the scenes where she finds out about electricity in the guy's cottage who finds her. He's putting on the lights for her and she's terrified. There's also a good scene where he's demonstrating how his shower works and she's terrified of the shower. Thinks it's kind of like alive. There's also a scene where she seduces the man who finds her, takes her clothes off. Go away!
Is that the body of a ghost? Is that real, David Winter? Tell me.
Oh, Phil! She has big knockers. If I was him, I wouldn't leave the fucking house. So there's quite a lot of nudity in this story. Eh? What was that? Nudity? There's also some surprise and gore effects. There's a really good shot of this beheaded bird. Its wings are flapping. It looks real. And the witch is making him hallucinate. So in one scene he kisses the beheaded bird. And he's got blood all on his mouth. There's also a creepy scene where there's blood coming in the bath. So Don Levy directed this episode as well as the last one. So that's interesting. He did the first story and the last story of this series. And he's directed loads of TV shows as well. Stuff like The Avengers. Jon Finch stars in this. He's been in a couple of Hammer films as well. He was in The Vampire Lovers from 1970, as well as The Horror of Frankenstein, also from 1970. So that's another example how this show uses some actors that have been in the Hammer Horror feature films. So this was a good start to the show. It's not one of the best though, it's kind of like second tier, but it gives the audience a taste of what's to come. In later episodes, they're much better. You get some standout ones like Rude Awakening, Children of the Full Moon, Two Faces of Evil. Brilliant show, it's one of my favourite horror shows. I think that's partly because it's shot on film, so they look like mini films instead of a TV show. It also has some great titles and theme music. With this episode though, the ending is a little bit flat. However, I do like the final shot, where the wax doll gets thrown onto this fire and you hear the witches scream off cam. I thought that was a great shot to end it, and the final screams chilling. So out of 10, what would I give this one? It's not one of the best, but it's still good, so I'd give it 8. 8 out of 10. What do you think, boys? Did you like it?
I thought it was excellent, Theo. Some brilliant bloody knockers in it.
Okay, everybody, bye. See you next time. Like, subscribe, and share. Bye. Bye.
Mary, you're my patient. I can't.
Won't.
I can't. I'd be struck off.
What are you laughing at?